Hey everybody. Wow. This background is kind of pretty.
Yeah.
That's been our goal, to kind of just be out and about every week, kind of a new location till we can get back into our studio space, you know, out here in the heart of Milwaukee. And so what a blessing to be alive, you know, another day, another chance to get it right. And so we're so excited, you know, to have each and every one of you join us today. Welcome to Saved and the City, yes. I'm your girl, Iberia, and I'm sitting here with my illustrious co-hosts. They can introduce themselves.
PR, Pastor Redante.
Come over the PR.
Johonna D.
Come on a little bit. So, you know, we're riding high, you know, still from Black Panther. For those of you who watched us last week talk about Black Panther.
What a great conversation, huh?
Baby, all I know is
I was getting inbox messages.
I was getting inbox messages, and that's why I was like, man, I need to boost this post so the world can see, you know. And we did this all without Pastor Redante, and then I was like, something missing. So we're so glad to have you back and be able to have your perspective
welcome back.
On what was you doing? Where was you at? Did you even see the movie though?
I did see the movie.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. I was flying hot. But last week, had to tend to, you know, the Lord's business. Ministry and everything like that. So I am grateful to be back this week with you guys. I'm excited this week. And lean in? Okay.
Yeah, lean in.
Yeah, I'm excited to be back. It was absolutely not a good break, but I'm glad to be here this week with you guys.
Exactly. So as far as when I was saying, like, still riding high on Black Panther, I'm telling you, and and it's not just us, it's the whole world.
It is.
I don't know.
Let's talk about the box office numbers.
Oh, 700 million.
700 million. Matter of fact, listen to this. Just yesterday, well, days before, it surpassed Spider-Man. It surpassed Spider-Man.
Wow.
But
Did it really?
Yep, but just yesterday, it surpassed Wonder Woman as well. So, no shade, but it surpassed Wonder Woman as far as highest action Marvel movie. I'm just excited about it. I've been so thrilled about the movie. I took our whole church went out to see it. And,
Oh, that's fantastic.
it was absolutely amazing. And of course, you know, I got all into character. I had my purple and black dashiki on. You know, I flew to Wakanda, and I was.
That was the thing. That was what I was gonna say. There's so many people too. Like they really want Wakanda to be a real thing.
Listen, that's me.
Right.
I'm telling you,
let me get my passport updated.
People are.
I need a Wakanda stamp.
People are literally calling airports and trying to book flights to Wakanda.
Listen, when I got up the next day, I posted on Facebook, did anybody have any spare vibranium? Because we could, if it was a real place, some vibranium is some bad stuff, boy. That vibranium, that's some amazing stuff.
I know. I think, you know, like I said, I'm just so proud. You know, I'm proud of the actors, and the thing is, like I said, it made me want to go beyond the movie and just kind of get to know each of them. Of course, now all this talk about the love between Lupita and Michael J.
What's up with that?
You know, and this is what I was wondering: is it kind of shady towards Chad Bosman that everybody's looking at Killmonger and Lupita? You know,
I thought about it, but they have
a real chemistry.
Yeah,
like they're on the on-screen chemistry between you know, Black Panther and what was her name, Nakia in the movie. Mm-hmm. You know, that it was good, but off camera, there's something special about that Michael J.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now you already see, now she's single. She's a single woman, so you already. But for the brothers out there, Lupita is doing her thing.
Yes, she's
gorgeous.
Yeah, and she looks absolutely amazing. Like, it's great to see such a display of beauty and pride and essence without being half naked or elusive or anything like that.
Absolutely.
I mean, I saw a picture of her posted the other day, and she looked so beautiful. And I literally felt like I was looking at like a queen or something.
Yeah,
I was like, she looks absolutely amazing.
Yeah,
she's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. And again, just for Black Panther coming out within this Black History Month, even though it has nothing to do with our history, it doesn't even exist.
I feel like it does,
But I do.
Yeah.
I mean, I just want to say that it does.
I want to say that it does.
New Black history.
It's Black future. Come on, Black future.
Wait. How about this? It will be history because it was made in February, and it is the #1 movie to ever come out in February, and it's a Black movie, so that's our history.
When you go into the real depth of the actual story about Black Panther when it actually came about, and just to find out even his mask. Back in the days when the guy that first made the character, forgive me, I don't have his name, but when he first made the character, he initially had a part of his face
about that last
cut
week.
out.
I brought that up last
and
week.
that's just amazing just to see it come full circle. And it's exciting to see an all-black cast that is not cooning and buffooning, skinning and grinning and things like that. It's actually when normally when there's another thing that, and I'm not going to touch on the subject, but I'm really grateful that they also stuck to the story with no agendas whatsoever. And I'll leave that right there. With no agendas, no innuendos, they just stuck to the script of the story. And it was I love that movie.
I know.
I'm going to see it again in 3D.
Yeah, I saw it in 3D.
You didn't see it in 3D yet? I feel like I got cheated.
Yeah,
Me too. Yeah, something wrong with y'all.
I didn't
not
even know that was an option. I didn't know it was an option.
Listen, John.
IMAX is an option on top. So that's the next level. That's beyond 3D.
Joanna,
my wife
just told me that they have a movie theater in Chicago where they show it in 4D.
Oh my!
Where they
What is
actually
that?
4D. We went to a 4D movie when we were in.
Like a hologram?
That's like.
Yes. Listen.
But that's like.
Oh, you guys got to hear this. There was in 4D.
IMAX.
What it is it's a 3D movie, but then they also add elements like where the chairs are rocking during certain moves.
That's like IMAX.
Or if
That's IMAX.
or if there's some water, a mist will spray across your face, or it's amazing.
I don't want no
it's
mist.
Amazing. It's amazing. They
They
take a little bit of water and it just like squirts you on your face, and you're like, whoa, where'd that come from? Like, because somebody sneezed on the camera or whatever. Like we saw Shrek in 4D. My wife and I in.
Oh, that would be fun.
Disney World or one of those places.
Yeah, I think that's kind of like how
Amazing.
IMAX is. Oh my goodness. So, we said that it was a beautiful thing.
What's she looking for?
That's okay. All right.
This is the city part. This is what
the
happens
city.
in the city.
This is what happens when you're in the city.
When you're in the city, not the studio, in the city. Oh my.
We out here. I was like, excuse me. What?
I'm like, what? Yeah.
Come on, you want to get on the camera?
Yes.
Okay. Well, God bless.
In the city.
But we saved and we in the city.
We saved and we in the city.
So here's the thing, though. Well, she did say excuse me. Anyhow,
You should have set her down for an interview. She came back.
Ask her what she think about that.
What you think about Black Panther?
Since you're here.
But the thing is, so I was saying, it's happening Black History Month. It kind of made me sad that today's the last day. Today is the last day.
We don't get no more.
It feels over. Today is the last day of Black History.
The movie, though.
I know, but now it's like
we didn't feel like this last year.
No, I feel like I want to stay in February forever now. Forever February.
Forever Wakanda.
Forever Wakanda forever. So today is the last day of Black History Month. But what Johonna and I talked about last week is that really Black history, it can be 365 days a year. This is who you are, so take time out of your life, out of your schedule to learn a little bit more about who you are and what you do, about your culture. One thing I think is so cool about just African American people, even though they don't know it, a lot of times, there's so many Africanisms in the things that we do every day. And, a lot of times, it'll be shunned. but it really is a part of our culture. If you hold up a lot of the things that we do as African American people next to certain tribes and very different things in Africa, it's very, even from the way we dance, the way we move, the beats we like, things like that, it's really just something that could not be stripped away. And I think it's so amazing. So we have a culture. A lot of us just don't even know it, and so I think it's just important for us to take the initiative to get to know ourselves a little bit better.
I agree with that.
And that our culture is cool, and that it's not, we don't, a lot of times we try to recreate culture and recreate all these different things.
Yeah.
When, sometimes I wake up, I'm gonna be honest, sometimes I wake up and I just feel like I'm proud to be a black man, unashamed, unapologetic. I'm proud to be a black man, and that's not, I was preaching about that one week. I was talking about, it's not about racial pride. You don't have to be about racial pride. I can be just proud and still get along with every other culture and still love every other culture, because at the end of the day, all cultures meet at the foot of the cross.
Come on, won't you say it? He's a preacher.
And so, in essence, what you're really saying is that you're proud to be who God made you to be.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
I mean, that's really what you're saying.
Absolutely. And so, the thing is, we can talk about Wakanda forever, literally. We can talk about Black Panther and be on this ride forever, because it really was life-changing for so many people, but life is, sometimes you got to come back to reality. So there's been things that have been going on, and we would be remiss if we didn't just take time to talk about some of the things that are going on in the Christian community and just in the world. And so, just briefly, I just wanted to say rest in power, Billy Graham. And I've been seeing a lot of different organizations talking about him and the work that he did. And 99 years old he was when he passed. And what a full life.
Such a trailblazer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Pioneer in the gospel.
Do you guys have any personal experiences from watching Billy Graham along the way? I just remember him just being on.
Man, he was on fire. And we talk about, especially, this is Saved in the City, so you're looking at three people that are walking in their callings, three people that believe in living a purpose-driven life, three people that believe in the Lord. And you talk about somebody who fleshed that out and modeled that for us. Billy Graham, in his 99 years of being here, that man preached to physically 218 million people.
Yeah.
218 million people. Can you imagine that?
In more than 185 countries.
Wow.
And so check this out, you all. This is the gospel effectively being spread like the Bible, right? This is pre-social media.
Social media, right.
Oh, right.
You know what I mean? So instantly we can get 1 million views, right? But we're talking about somebody in the trenches.
Wow, I didn't think
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, amazing, right?
That's
I mean, can you imagine what he had to endure, what he had to go through in order to 185 countries?
Yeah.
That is amazing. And so we're talking about like videotape, maybe, right?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Right.
Cassette tape, maybe.
Right. Absolutely. And so this was a time where, people were hungry, and it just goes to show people hungry for the gospel.
Oh, God,
people hungry for wanting to hear about a Savior that can redeem them.
Yes.
And so it's just the impact that he's had, and we are to some degree, we are a product of that, right? Because I'm sure it has impacted the people that are shepherds, and then our shepherds, and our shepherd. You know what I mean? 99 years old. How many generations?
Yeah.
And still going.
And still found the time to come on down to Milwaukee County.
Yes, I remember.
He preached over at the county stadium.
Yeah, so I was probably
back in '79, and so
kindergarten.
So that's absolutely amazing.
I think I was Goo Goo Gaga.
But you want to know what? I actually looked it up. I actually wanted to watch. I took a look at his actual sermon that he preached while he was here, and you will be amazed. He preached the pursuit of happiness.
Did he
wow,
really?
even back then.
Right.
Yeah, he preached the pursuit of happiness. I was like, wow. And it's just an amazing thing. Billy Graham was definitely a treasure, a national treasure. Today, his body lays in state. And so we definitely not just take our hats off, but the Bible says that the elders are worthy of double honor.
Double honor.
And so we definitely send up double honor to Reverend Billy Graham. I mean, he's an amazing man of God, and he did an amazing work here in the earth, and his work is going to live on for many generations. I'm excited about that. He lived a full life. Like if you're a preacher and you're inspiring, like to, he lived a full life, an entire life. Yeah.
And because of that too, like it makes me just want to applaud him because we're all in various, because we're all in various areas of ministry, and we know the attacks that we be dealing with on a regular. So just think about what he had to endure, but he still, because a lot of times when the anointing is the richest is when you've been, through the most, So I can only imagine the other side that we didn't see,
Sorry about that, Iberia. They say you can only get oil from a crushed olive.
Come on in here.
So you can only imagine the things that, like you
only
said,
get a diamond out of a crushed coal.
Exactly. And it's just an amazing thing that I'm really excited about the life of Billy Graham. I actually, on a personal note, I actually had an opportunity to go to North Carolina and tour his. He has a facility there. It has his actual childhood home. They picked it up. They picked it up from a county and moved it to this plot of land in its original state. His childhood home and all of his artifacts, and it's just such an amazing. The Billy Graham Library is such an amazing place. If you're ever in North Carolina, go and visit it.
Wow,
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, and what we were talking about too when we were kind of off air, because we kind of meet even kind of beforehand, whether we're texting or calling each other, and when we started to kind of reflect on Billy Graham in 99 years, the flip side, is that no man knows the day or the hour, when it might be your time, tomorrow is not promised to us. And because of that, you got to ask yourself the question, reevaluate some things. Are you ready? He left a legacy. What you leaving? What are you leaving behind? And so, and what also kind of sparked me, and because if we're talking about current events and different things going on in our city, so again, rest in peace, Billy Graham. But there's so much talk about the mass shootings that have happened in some of these schools.
So disheartening.
It is. It's so scary. And some of the stuff I can't even watch. Yeah. And they do have some really graphic footage. But, seeing these kids, scrambling around, they shouldn't have to be burdened with that. And then knowing that some die. Some have died because of these things, And so, we said things like whether you're 19 or 99, whether you're 9 years old, you gotta be in a place where you're ready. So how do you prepare for something like that? How do you even prepare for death?
There's first I would be remiss not to mention when I saw this particular, and I saw school shootings before, and my heart was broken at each and every one of them. Every time, there's never a time that you grow numb to that one, right? Like there's certain things that happen in our community that you try not to get numb to, but it happens so frequent. But this particular thing, I couldn't imagine going to school and and having to herd out with our hands up, with rifles in our face.
It changes you.
It just changes because it just takes away from your entire. Takes away from your childhood experience. It's like somebody pulling the plug on cartoons. It's like, there's a season in your life where that's really important. Yeah. And so the dynamic with our children is changing. And, so that's a very disheartening thing. But we do have to be ready, to the best of our ability. That's why the Bible says, examine yourself. We have to get ready because we don't know. Like anything can happen anywhere at any time. And the truth of the matter is, death don't even need that situation.
That's true.
Like anything can happen. So you just have to stay prepared to the best of your ability. But just speaking on the mass shooting, it's like Sister Johonna said, it's so disheartening. It's so heartbreaking to see this keep occurring over and over again. But I have to ask this question. I don't understand why the idea that somebody can continue to do these things and just say, oh, it's mental illness, when there's other pieces of the community that don't get a chance to say they're mentally ill for all the various crimes that they do. If somebody does that crime, they ought to face the full extent of the law.
I mean, they should.
With no pampering.
But by now, it's like, I don't know, and I hate to say this, but it's like almost by now, I almost don't expect justice. And I hate to say that. So it's like we have to take other measures. And I've seen this happen before where, that's why I love Shonda Rhimes. So a quick sidebar, she has a way of writing into her, her different, the shows, whether it's Scandal or Grey's Anatomy or something like that, real life things that are going on. And there was one scene in Grey's Anatomy where it was a African-American woman and I guess it was her husband or baby's father, and they were talking to their African-American son about how to handle himself with police, how to handle himself with the law. And unfortunately, that's what a lot of African-American people are doing across the country. And it's sad that we have to position ourselves in a different way, because is the law really even for us?
When I look at all of these young kids, and I'm not shifting the conversation at all, but when I look at all these young kids that are, in our community, real big young kids are stealing cars and crashing cars, and it's a vile crime. It's a very vile crime. But I'm not seeing people come and say, "Oh, well, they were mentally retarded." I don't think I'm supposed to say that.
And they're
mentally ill. Let me correct myself, because again, I apologize. I said mentally ill. But they're not able to use that as a pamper for their crime. And so this young man, at that point, I'm gonna be honest with you. Let me just be honest. I didn't want to hear about.
You're talking about the young man who shot up everybody?
I didn't want to hear about any of that. I just wanted police to arrest him and put him in jail. That's all I wanted. I didn't want any pampering on it, because to me, that becomes a double offense to what actually took place.
Which is why everybody, I'm not trying to make light of it, this is why everybody want to go to Wakanda.
It really is Wakanda forever. You can't get away
You
from
see
it.
what I'm saying? Like that I'm telling you, I'm not even trying to make light of it, but seriously, that's why we were so happy, because it was like we could actually have an opportunity to see ourselves free, confident. We had the weapons. We weren't, it wasn't against us. It was like we had the resources, And so it's unfortunate, but sometimes again, we need, we do need that type of narrative to stay and remain a part of our lives, whether it's through movies or us creating our own individual Wakandas. And what I mean by that is our own segments in the community where we can support each other. Because unfortunately, I don't even know what the answer is. Honestly.
And so I would say this, this is kind of the spiritual aspect of it. Our grandmother used to say it. You all probably know what I'm about to say. Our great grandmothers, the pastors of old, it's the time that we're living in. What we're seeing is indicative of the time that we're living in.
That's true.
And it's in the Bible, like it's prophesied in the New Testament that in the last days these things are going to happen, right? People are not going to have any regard for life, right? And so it's telling us what's going to happen. And so I think that we don't need to get ready, we need to stay ready. Because we never know when it's going to happen, and we need to prepare our children for that as well. And so that's a part of training up your children. It's just not behavior, it's about, there is coming a time where people are going to act crazy in environments, and it's so much more than carjacking. It's people feeling like they can exercise their right, impose their belief system on you, whatever that is. And so I think that through the Word of God, it tells us explicitly what's going to happen. And unfortunately, it's gonna get worse before it gets better. But thank God we know that in the end we win, right? But we know that there's gonna be some stuff that breaks out.
Exactly, and I mean, or that's broken out. So how do you guys feel about teachers having guns in school? Because now what's happening is people are trying to figure out, okay, they see that there's a problem, so people are like, okay, well, what do we do? Okay, let's give teachers guns.
I think it's problematic. It's horrible.
Very problematic, and I think that there will be, number one, just entertaining the idea is such a big mistake. Just the fact that we're having a debate about this, right?
Yeah.
Because now here's my fear. Now I'm about to swing this in another direction. Here's my fear. If we put teachers in the classrooms with guns, how long before that train comes down the track where a teacher assassinates a student because they were afraid?
Yeah, and right, and I think there's going to be way more African American deaths.
Exactly, and I can see
they're intimidated by our kids.
I can see the news headline. I was afraid for my life, and so I shot him.
Yeah,
and that would be an atrocity, a huge atrocity in this country for a teacher to ever have to take the life of his or her student. And so I just think that we should definitely
for the wrong student to get a hold of the gun in some kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, and so let me just say this: there's clearly times in school where the kids are out of control, right?
Yeah.
And this is the case. The student went in and he started dropping people, right? And so the opposing side could probably say, well, if the teacher had a gun, they could have dropped him, right?
Yeah.
Before the massacre would have started.
Imagine that.
But then just imagine that. What kind of impact, and so all the way around, it's a horrible conversation to have, but it speaks to our leadership that is in place right now. And so I think that what we need to do, what we have to do, is just keep praying. Like, some things are not going to be settled back and forth, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual matter, and it has to be handled spiritually, because what ends up happening is that, and even amongst believers, there are the evangelicals and I'll just say the non-evangelicals, and the people who are, conservative Christians, and they have a belief. You know what I mean? And so I think that has been the thing that has divided us as believers. And so some things that, we don't even need to talk about it anymore.
Yeah.
Because we're talking to the wrong people about it,
That's
right?
all I'm saying.
There's some things that's only going to be handled in the spiritual realm, and that's how we got to handle it.
That's good.
True. That's true. But on a practical side, I want to just let you know, like, in all honesty, if you go to Milwaukee Public Schools right now, which we're in Milwaukee right now, if you went to Milwaukee Public Schools, believe it or not, there are young kids in schools right now with guns. I know this to be a fact. When I went to Milwaukee, I went to James Madison High School. As a young man, when I was in the streets, I wasn't saved at the time. When I was a young man, we all carried guns to school. Many people.
Wow.
Many people. I would go to school literally, and there would be so many people with firearms at school. I will name names, but I'm not going to do that. But I'm trying to tell you, there will be so many people at school with firearms. I used to carry 2 25 handguns in my pocket.
How old were you?
I was about 15, 16.
Like what are y'all doing?
I'm not kidding. And I got friends that if they're on my Facebook, I got friends that will chime in and tell you so many people.
So the question is why though?
Yeah. Right, because
and things have the landscape has changed significantly
since then. Exactly. But what I'm trying to tell you is that we did because we had access to them, and that was the environment we were living in. But again, at that time, too, if there's any part to our credit, and we were wrong, but we didn't even think of taking those firearms and shooting up the school innocent people or anything like that. But all I'm trying to say is we had access to them.
Yeah.
I personally believe, now this is me speaking for me, I believe that there has to be some kind of regulation to this. I get it. I'm Second Amendment. I believe that people should have the right to bear arms, but people should not have access to a murder machine, a weapon of mass destruction. People should not have access to those. So I believe that we have to use some common sense approach because there's so many guns on the streets right now, and I'm talking about back in the days, over 20 years ago, I'm talking about 25 handguns. I know little kids right now that are 15 to 16 years old that are carrying full assault rifles, all right? And I'm trying to tell you that this thing is out of control.
Yeah.
It's out of control. And it's because people are now selling guns in the same way that kids buy tennis shoes, in the same way that they make blue jeans. They're mass producing them and putting them in the streets, and people have access to them. This young man was 19 years old and had so many assault rifles. It's absolutely unreal. And so it's the access, Johonna. That's what I'm talking about. It's the access. When you have access to something, you know, that wandering thing, you're gonna poke at it. You're gonna, you know. And so he had access. He should have never even had access to that kind of artillery.
So I think that the other side of the debate is that, you know, when you get rid of the access for some people, you get rid of it for all people, and therein lies the problem that you know is the NRA. You know, the people who, whatever they called, you know what they call. They have a problem with it. And so it's like, okay, you're trying to take away our right, even though we understand that this is a problem. You're trying to take away our right. Right. And so we got a problem with you having a problem with our problem. And unfortunately, you know, lives are at stake because of that. And so, you know, does there need to be some regulation around it? Absolutely. And so, but what it means is, so this is what I believe that it is an issue that starts at home. Like the fact that you have a child that would be so angry that we're no longer willing to resolve it. And so I'm not even saying like, let's talk about it, because probably the average kid may not do that, right? You know, this is me in my 40-plus-year-old mind say, let's talk about it. But let's just put that aside. Like, so we saying you're not even gonna scrap over it no more. Like, you know what? Meet me after school in the parking lot. It's going down. It's me and you. But we're gonna pick your square. Exactly. Pick your square. And we're gonna duke it out.
To break down the society.
Absolutely. So we are beyond that point. Like, I'm so mad at you that I want to end your life. I don't want to punch your face. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to punch you. I want to end your life. And because you know him, I want to end her life too. And that's...
But you know what I think? I think the we got to get to the root of what the issue is. Like you said, obviously, you know, folk need prayer, number one. The other part of it too is that our kids are more medicated than ever before. So, I mean, in some ways, they are operating out of some off spirit. In some ways, them kids is on something. You know? And
I mean, so I think it's a breakdown in society, but I think it's also, you know, parents, you cannot control what your kids do, right? You cannot do it. But I do believe that there is a level of influence that you have over your children. And so if you got a display case and the rifles are just there, like, you know, we're a family, we and I have friends that hunt, right? And they have rifles, right? So it's in my head, like, there is some additional level of training responsibility that you have for your kids.
I never call it being the negative advocate or anything like that. But I just want to say this, like, you know, I'm a believer in prayer. I have a prayer lifestyle. I believe in prayer. I know the power of prayer and everything. But yesterday, Donald Trump tweeted about our President Trump. He tweeted.
You didn't have to emphasize that last part.
Well, you know, we respect him.
45.
Respect him. Yeah. He tweeted out about the situation, and he said that, you know, he offers up his prayers. And one of the students who was in that building, who had been shot at, whose friend had died, tweeted the president back and said, you know, it's cool that you offer your prayers, but we need you to do something. And so I say all that to say this, is that sometimes I believe the church ought to be praying. The church ought to be on its knees. We ought to be praying. We ought to be at the altar. We ought to be slinging oil, doing all of the above. But when the prayer is over with, after we say amen, we got to get up and do something. There has to be an action that has to take place, because faith without works is still dead. And we got to get up and actually do something. We actually have to write an actual congressman. We actually have to make a Senate meeting. We actually have to do something, because we, even as the church, even as the community of faith, we can't use prayer as a crutch or a cop-out, or because you know now to tell somebody I'm praying for you is now like a partying word as opposed to an actual action. It's to say,
you're in my thoughts.
When like you see somebody going through something, you say, oh, I'm gonna pray for you, when you never actually even offered up a prayer on their behalf. You know what I'm saying? So some people do that. And all I'm trying to say is we have to actually get back into the action of our faith and not just, you know, lobbing it up and saying, oh, well, we're just going to pray about it. No, we got to pray about it and then some. But we got to do something.
And so I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I will say that not even but, and
in addition to.
In addition to that, I feel like that parents need to, you know, not to minimalize, you know, the impact of prayer, but I feel like sometimes when we get teenagers, you know, they live a whole nother life. Like, you just don't even know about the stuff that they're doing. And so, you know, maybe, and I'm not saying I have the answer. I don't have teenagers right now, but they will be at some point. And I'm saying that you're not going to have no whole nother life that you don't know about as a parent. And so I'm saying that as a believer, we're talking about saved in the city. I can't speak for other parents that are not believers, but I'm saying in my knower, my discernment should be kicking in to say, you know what, it's something wrong with Dante, honey. Like, we need to do something because mentally he's not in the right place. And so as parents, we have to get to a point where we're not so busy, right? We're not so involved with our life, where we just leave little Redante in his room and he got on headphones.
Somebody go see about little Redante.
Go see about little Redante. I'll make sure y'all come see about little Redante.
Little Redante be in his room all the time, Monday through Friday, but then on
in my room
Monday,
with my Beats by Dre on.
Exactly.
Just listening to God
he was fine.
Right.
He was on his computer. That's all we knew. And then Tuesday morning, he done shot up the whole school. Really? I'm coming close because I'm really mad about this. He done shot up the whole school.
With 225, Lil Redante.
And you didn't know Lil Redante had the gun. Where he get them from?
All them guns.
All them guns. Mama, Daddy, where he get them from? Right? And so not that we can control.
And not to just point blame on the particular parent.
No shade to the parent, but I'm just saying as parents that we have got to be. So we need to pray. We need to take some action in society, in Congress, but then we also, inside of the home, I feel like it is equally as important to do some teaching, some training around these. So are you talking to your children about what happened? Right? In the school, like if you have high school age children or even middle school age children, are you parents? I want to know. Parents, chime in. Are you having your discussions with your children? Like, how are you all dealing with this? What kind of conversations are they having? Are they saying anything about it? Do they feel like, you know, it's disturbing to them? Like, I'm interested to know, because I feel like it's a teachable moment.
It's
a teachable moment. It's not like we watching TV like, dang, that's messed up.
How do we reel it back in?
Absolutely.
You know, now that we know that the line is out there so far, how do we begin reeling it back in? That's good.
You know what's so unfortunate though is that I know I spoke about the kids being medicated, but the whole world is on something. I'm sorry, I'm not even trying to just keep going back to that. But people are just not present. you can't discern it when you're taking Xanax and this and all of these different things. And yes, I do believe mental illness is real. I think that people are dealing with depression and anxiety and different things like that. But I'm telling you exactly, they can't get to the core and the roots of their own issues. So their children's issues are just, slipping by. I don't know. Now, this wasn't really an issue, but it was something I wanted to bring up. Did you all see that video of the little girl who was opening her present? It was a present she was opening for the first time, and she opened it up and she just started crying because it was what she always wanted. It was like a rifle. The kid was like, she had to be 10. You guys see that? I have to share that with you. And it blew me away. She was so happy to get this gun. And I was like, why is this a gift? Why is this a thing? And so it's a culture. It's a culture, and it is a cultural thing, And I actually had people jumping down my throat because I shared it in a negative light.
I can't honestly say it is different living. The fact that I've lived down south for the past 14 years.
Oh, yeah. It was from the south.
It's completely different. Their culture is completely different as opposed to, like, I lived in New York back in 1992. And it's just completely different. Different culture as opposed to the south. Now, all of them, obviously, there are guns everywhere. But what a gun actually means in those places, it's something totally different. Like when you go throughout the South, when I say literally every single human being has a gun of some kind of degree, and sometimes you'll be somewhere as open as the barbershop, and you'll think that you're in the Wild Wild West saloon because everybody has a gun. Like, it's literally like it's just different. Whereas, but I think when you mix that in with a city like Milwaukee or New York, with the aggression of city life and things like that, I just think you're not open in the rural country where you're shooting at rabbits and deers and things like that. I just think it's just a toxic soup for trouble. And on top of that, we're talking about, like you said, that the world needs some serious prayer, because there's a breakdown in society. You talk about drugs that there are people out right now that are smoking K2.
What's that?
It's a K2 is basically, it's going to blow your mind. Maybe we'll talk about this on another show. Very popular right here in Milwaukee. Kids are smoking, adults are smoking potpourri. Listen to me. They've been buying it from stores, and on the packaging it literally says not for human consumption. And there are people that are all over the internet that are losing their minds, falling out, passing out, nodding out in public, all kinds of things, and it's highly addictive. And so they're just. I never understood that thing. To be honest with you, I never understood the drug addict thing.
I do want to ask one question though about that, and then we can kind of figure a way to kind of bring it all back in. So what do you think about the legalization of marijuana?
Girl, you want to talk about that in 10 minutes?
I know.
We're going to have to come back and talk about that.
We'll come back and talk about
I mean, I have some feelings that probably will surprise you.
Only because...
Me too.
I just want to say one thing. Only because I just saw a video, and then we're going to bring it back in. Y'all know, y'all Billy Graham, we talking about the master and everything. But,
give us your 30-second answer, Johonna. What's your 30-second answer?
So my 30-second answer
we'll come back
is that I am against it as far as the abuse of it is concerned, but I am not against it for medicinal purposes. If you have, and this is why I say I'm a Christian, I'm a believer, and I believe in the power of healing, right? Raise your hand if you've ever been in chronic pain, like chronic. So if you have never been in chronic pain, I'm talking about there is nothing.
Is that why they call it the chronic? I'm learning today. Go ahead.
There is no over-the-counter, no prescription. There is nothing. I have been in chronic pain. Every painkiller you can imagine, I have been prescribed. Oxy.
Wow.
Whatever. I have been prescribed. Volume. I have had it all. And the prescription didn't work. And I refused to take it because I knew the addictive purposes, the addictive properties of it, of most of it. And so this is what I'm saying. I believe, the Bible talks about the herbs and God made it all, right? I believe that it was created in the earth for medication purposes. I believe we have exploited it, and we have abused it, and we're turning it into something it was never created to be. And so if you have ever lived with chronic, and so I don't mean like I got a headache type of thing.
We was praying, y'all. We said
we was touching and agreeing.
We had to put 5 on it. We had to reach our hands out. We didn't want to end on the chronic.
We didn't want to end on the chronic. We did not. We did not. And if you from the 90s, you know what that means. Got 5 on.
But you know what? My 30-second answer, and I could do it as under 30 seconds. Before I got saved, I thought that marijuana was okay. I was never a big weed smoker myself.
I never smoked it. Never.
I thought it was okay. After I got saved, of course, with that whole newness in Christ thing, I was like, no, it's illegal. Don't, this and that. After studying and seeing, and I'm not a marijuana user. I will never smoke weed, but I do think that this should be legal. Excuse me. After going to Colorado and seeing the model that they have there, and for this purpose and this purpose only, and mine is not medical. I just don't think that it's something that our African American and Latino brothers should be locked up.
That was going to be my point.
I just don't think that they should be in jail doing life sentences and long sentences.
Especially now that it's legalized in
like
other areas.
I have many thoughts, and we don't have time to go into
We need to
it.
come back and do a show. Because what will be the position of the body of Christ or as a believer when it comes to a real true and that's a true complex issue. That is not a cut and dry issue. I mean, I believe that people shouldn't drink alcohol, but I believe that somebody does have the right to if that's what they want to do.
Right.
And that's the thing that, I'm sorry, we'll come back to it.
I know,
we'll
it's
come
so
back to
much.
It's so much.
Because they're giving away home free weed plants in LA.
Yeah.
If you needed a job. But I was like, if you used to sell weed and you were in jail and now you're free, a lot of times that you don't have, because they've been in jail so long, they don't have certain skill sets. So they're giving them whole plants for them to run. Wow. And I was like, it was kind of beautiful, but then at the same time, because so many people are abusing it, I'm on the fence about it. So we can talk about it next week. Oh my God.
Oh wow.
Let's figure out how to bring
That's
this on
going to be
back.
a good discussion.
That's definitely going to be very good.
Saved in the city and the chronic. Snoop Doggy Dogg.
I can't take it. Wow. Well, you know what? Kind of back to our initial kind of start of our Hot Topic segment. We were talking about Billy Graham, and then we were talking about the mass shootings. Tune in for the Chronic next week. But really, at the core of it, what we were trying, when we started to think about, I guess, the span of both kind of sides of things, the question that came to my mind is, are you ready? And it kind of goes back to me, to what legacy are you leaving? How are you preparing your children to deal with this world that we're in? And so, and like Pastor Dante was saying, there's much prayer needed, and then there's also much action needed from the church. And so I guess in that, I don't know if you guys have some final thoughts on kind of that basis, or kind of where's your heart?
Well, I'll go. My final thoughts are that Wakanda forever.
Of course.
And double salute to Reverend Billy Graham, who lived a full life in Christ and set forth an example that we could follow as believers. Paul said, "Follow me as I follow Christ," and he gave us an example to follow, because people teach you how to live, and then people teach you how to die. And so I thank God for Billy Graham. He taught us how to go out the right way. When it comes to mass shootings and other spur-of-the-moment events that can take place in life, we never know where we're going to be at any time, at any hour. Jesus said that no man knows the hour nor the time. He says in a moment, in a twinkling of an eye. And so we have to stay ready. In the old street adage, we say, if you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
Come on in
and
here.
So that's what I end mine on. If you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready.
I think that's great. I think I'm going to end mine on that one too.
Yeah.
stay ready so you don't have to get ready.
So I would say, I'm a lady of purpose, and I believe in the power that's really in that. And it's been kind of a cliche term where everybody's kind of, throwing it out as a buzzword. But I think that Billy Graham was a person who operated in his purpose long before it was popular. He committed his life. Like, he dedicated his life to what God had called him to do, and he didn't veer from it. Like, you didn't see him out selling, like, kitchenette, stuff, like, going door to door, like, oh, you know what, like, it's hard this month, I'm gonna sell some dictionaries, or, what people used to do. Like, he was committed to the cause, and so I believe that for me, that's the greatest takeaway, that if you find something that God has called you to do, stay committed to it, and it will carry you through until the day of Christ Jesus. Right? And so, and so I think that this is the thing that helps even transcends like over to other generations, right? And so if we tell young people, if we help them plug into their purpose, I bet you they won't be shooting up no schools. Wow. Right? And so can you see the parallel? Yes. Like we see people, from back in the day who found early on what he was called to do.
I'm looking for the deacons so they can bring this offering.
I know, all I know. I'm ready to lay out.
Yes, and so he stuck with it. He nurtured it. He took it to other people, and other people were able to benefit from the thing that he was called to do. And he lived 99 years living in purpose.
Wow.
What a way to go. Wow. What a way to, that's my takeaway. That's my lesson is stay committed, Johonna. Stay committed through the hard times, the tough times. Don't let anything take you off your square.
Yes. So we'll be believing God with you all to discover your purpose. We'll be, and maybe that'll be our prayer. Well, that'll be my prayer between now even and next week, just for those people that are watching, that are or they're just those people that are connected to Saved in the City, to the Infinite Church, to lifestyle.
Yes. and also tell your children about your purpose. Like help them discover it, because I promise, I believe that when they find their passion, when they find what it is that God has created them to do, they're not going to. There's some things they're just not going to do.
Because they're looking to be for a feeling.
Absolutely.
And when you find that, it's like that's it. That's it. Hit the spot.
Yeah, absolutely.
God is good all the time.
All the time.
God is good. Look, we're going to pray out.
It feels good to be back. It feels good to be back. It feels good to be back with my sisters, and I'm excited to be here and look forward to many more episodes of Saved in the City.
Yes, and until next week, be encouraged.
And stay saved in the city.
Wakanda forever.
Stay saved.